she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke.
Audiophonic Ritalin for the ADD generation. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
Get down, girl, go ahead, get down. Get down, girl, go ahead.
Thanks to our schizophrenic commander-in-chief, about a month and a half ago, we shut down the oil industry in the U.S., at least the offshore oil industry, right before we found out that naturally occurring microbes on the Gulf of Mexico will eat up well over half of the crap that the Gulf oil spill was spilling out. Now, the fact that we focus so much on the Gulf oil spill and on our deep oil drilling kind of avoids the fact that there are completely different alternatives to the crisis we currently see ourselves in over the energy crisis we have in the U.S. That we aren't even talking about these days. Now, we have been talking about them for a number of years. And Sam is joining us on the program on the Hub this week because one of the things I wanted to talk about are some of the alternatives to the energy crisis we currently find ourselves in. Because quite frankly, when you think about it, the money we are dumping into Saudi Arabia, into the Middle East, into so many regions of around the world, and yes, the vast majority of our oil comes from Canada and South America, but still a good percentage of it is coming from the Middle East with people who, well, loathe us, or if they themselves don't loathe us, they have a funny way of losing track of the resources so that they go somewhere else to the people that loathe us. Think Hamas, think Hezbollah, think Lebanon, Syria, you name it. The list goes on and on. So, Sam, there are a lot of things in the T. Boone Pickens plan, which you've been a representative of, has been about this for a long time. But my understanding about T. Boone Pickens' plan was that originally it was all about don't drill. We need to do switchgrass. We need to do any one of a number of processes other than drilling here and drilling now and paying less. Has it evolved since then, or was it something different all along?
Well, I think there's just a misconception.
Okay,
is what it is.
Clear us up.
And we can drill all we want to, and Boone said the same thing. We can drill all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, do you really think that we have as much oil as Saudi Arabia does? I don't think so. And in order for us to stop utilizing, we use 40% of our oil actually comes from the Middle East and Asia, and we'll go ahead and throw South America in there too at 15%. So then we're up to, 55% of our oil comes from people who don't like us. Why don't we use our own resources? Yes, we can drill, but do you think we've got more oil here than there? No, we can't. We don't have the capacity with oil. But what we do have is natural gas. And we can use natural gas as a transportation fuel.
Yeah. Now, and you know, I hear all that and I hear you say it, but I think you're a little short-sighted here, because we could put windmills on the top of our Explorer and power our car. The president wants to invest in new energy and new technology, and he's all forward thinking. He's progressive like that. He's thinking ahead of the curve here. You just need to get with it. Yeah,
he's not really progressive like that. He won't even come on board, and we've had him say natural gas one time, so that's good stuff. But no, I don't think the windmills on the top of the car is going to work out.
You know what? Gives me a reason to drive faster. I'm just saying.
My little map here of the natural gas shale.
Little map.
Deposits.
We pay for big budget graphics here on the Hub Internet Show. Look at that.
I'm telling you, I've carried the thing around with me for a year, telling people about how much natural gas we've got here. And you've got to look at a fuel source for us that has the capacity to replace the foreign oil that we use.
When Pickens first started this whole windmill farm out in the Midwest, and he was trying to pipe this in to we're somewhere in Texas. Was it Austin, Houston, somewhere?
Plano.
Okay. The argument was that the amount of infrastructure we would have to lay to actually get the energy from the source to where the need was, the grid would be so expensive to override that it just wasn't feasible.
Right, but what you're looking at is investment. I mean, where would we be without the highway system? I kind of like Eisenhower's idea of putting that in, you know, just like I like Boone Pickens' idea of putting a smart grid in. And then we have other energy sources that we can tie in and utilize.
We don't
from right here.
We don't have a choice.
No, we don't have a choice. Guess what, guys? Hey, let me give you some numbers here. 663,231. Guess what that is? That's how many dollars we're spending per minute on foreign oil. And people tell me, oh, it's going to cost too much. You know, oh, I don't want to give any incentives to these companies that are giving us natural gas. Honey, we're giving $663,000 a minute to somebody who doesn't like us. I'm all for giving a small portion of money to start-up companies so that they can start their businesses, so that we can start utilizing our own resources. And it's happening.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, and here's the thing about it is so many folks. I mean, we're seeing now folks are literally looking at leaving the country because folks who are highly specialized working the rigs down in the Gulf that now don't have work for at least for the foreseeable future. And the truth of the matter is we have so many different alternatives. The fact that we make it so dangerous that we have to go drill so deep when we have so much available here, resources in this country, I mean, it just seems like a ludicrous argument that we're still stuck where we are.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And think about it. If we keep that money here, those jobs stay here. I mean, I've got a report right here that says we could have 550,000 jobs. Come on. We need those here.
I got a question for the panel. Why is natural energy or, alternative sources to oil dependence, why aren't conservatives pushing that? The Democrats are, but the conservatives are holding back and driving their SUVs and getting on the airwaves and boasting about it. Why are we not coming together to find alternate ways?
Because we self-caricature, because we're a little short-sighted. But that aside,
that's what I'm fighting. Question. That's why I've gotten so involved in the more conservative party in politics.
Yeah. Well, you have more than just natural gas. I mean, you have wave energy too. I mean, you have
there's so many different technologies.
You have geothermal. You have so many different ways that we can utilize.
Solar is huge. And guess what, guys? There's 3 new solar companies just right here in Georgia that have put more people to work. I've got some numbers, but I mean, it's hundreds of people that are going to work in the solar industry right here in Georgia to produce it.
Think about the future. Your Ferrari comes in red, yellow, and mirror.
It's different things. See,
right.
That's what people get confused and make jokes about putting a turbine on top of a car. No, we can utilize our natural gas for cars. We can use solar hot water heaters. Mm-hmm. We've got a solar hot water heater company right in Athens that's producing them. Solar Partners.
So there are a lot of creative. I mean, what ultimately is the T. Boone Pickens plan? If you had to boil it down to a theme, to a mantra, to a clarion call, what is he pushing for?
Our resources, our people put to work to make our energy, so that we can keep that money here in our economy. And I will tell you something, it ties in everything that's wrong. It ties in our economy, it ties in our national security, it ties in our environment. And I don't care if you believe in global warming or not. The fact of the matter is that if we use natural gas, our air will be 30% cleaner. The emissions coming out of every car will be 30% cleaner. Now, I'm not pushing natural gas for cars today. I may tomorrow. Right now, I want the biggest bang for my buck. So, in that, I talk about trash trucks, refuse trucks. If we took one refuse truck off the road, it's just like taking 325 cars off the road. You see where I'm headed? I want all the fleet vehicles turned over. That's what Boone's touting. He wants to get the biggest bang for our buck. Mm-hmm. While we're waiting on everybody to debate about their own personal vehicles, let's get those fleets on board, and they're doing it.
Well,
big companies, Disney, AT&T, FedEx.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it really comes down to, I guess we could really solve the problem by just all being work from homers, by all being telecommuters. But since that's not going to happen anytime in the near future, since we are Americans, we are in love with our flexibility and with our autonomy and with our ability to get around, which I don't think should be demonized. It's part of who we are. Then we got to look at some new alternatives before we don't have those options. We'll see you tomorrow. Hold on.